I was searching for meaning, and I think what that meaning was context. I don't think you can find meaning for yourself unless you establish yourself in some kind of contextual place, some world in which you belong and that you have meaning and substance and validity. The story of Quadrophenia was set in the early 60s when Jimmy was 16, 17 or 18. The Who would have been roughly the same age, maybe a little bit older. So he was tracking us, hoping that we would turn out well. We would have a message for him that was useful to him. When we see Jimmy struggling with his 4 facets, we suddenly have become aware of our own demons. We become aware of our own conversations with ourselves. We don't know when we watch the ballet whether Jimmy has landed a solution to his issues at all. Things are different today, but they're also the same in many ways. I think what we had was a sense that we had no part in the conversation. The dancers in Quadrophenia today do have a stake. They can speak about their issues. I think it wasn't until bands like The Who started to speak up that we realized that we could speak, and that led to me writing songs like My Generation. It's echoes. It feels to me like echoes. When I wrote Quadrophenia, when I wrote My Generation, when I've written every song that I've ever written, any story that I've ever written, I've often been unable to see myself in them. And yet when I'm far enough along, far enough away from them, when I'm talking about them, I can see very, very clearly my role and my position in them. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I understand my response to a new piece like the Quadrophenia ballet. I think it stands for me as something which is fresh. Rather than being confronted or comforted, I feel that I'm travelling with it, and I hope I can keep up. So the cast of Quadrophenia today may well feel unsafe. Perhaps that's the one thing that's coming through the Quadrophenia ballet that's so interesting, is that the powerlessness that is portrayed by this young group of dancers, based on the original Jimmy story in Quadrophenia, is of a higher quality, a more visceral, human quality. We are vulnerable creatures, and we haven't been allowed to express that need to fail that is, in a sense, at odds with the whole idea of the human masculine machinery. If we look at what the function of art is, does it have to have a function? And for me it does. It has to soothe, remedy, reach, touch, console, and create a sense of identification. It's less about a kid who falls in love with a pretty girl down the road, and more about what's really going on inside this kid's neural pathways. In other words, this is a society of people who examine their feelings, go deeply into them, and try to work out what's going on. I don't think that was the way things were when I was young. What we trust as the creators of the ballet, as the tellers of the story, is that the audience will be able to decide.